Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to FeminineSpaces, the sanctuary for women over 40 who are stepping into their next chapter with self-discovery, self-mastery, relationship wisdom, and conscious living. Hi, I'm Vanessa, and today we're diving deep into the topic that I know sits close to many of your hearts. How to date with confidence after a long-term relationship. Maybe you've been through a divorce. Maybe you've ended a partnership that has spanned decades. Maybe, and this one is true for me, you've been widowed, and the idea of dating feels like entering a brand new world with a completely different set of rules. Wherever you are on this path, I want you to take a deep breath right now. Inhale and exhale. Feel yourself arriving. You're not starting from zero. You're beginning again with wisdom, life experience, and the heart that has already loved deeply. And that, my darling, is a profound advantage. So, you are embarking into this new emotional landscape. Dating after a long-term relationship isn't just about swapping or swiping or curtailing the right new people. It begins from inside. And let's be honest, there's fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough. And in a dating culture that often feels like it was designed for people half our age, and let's not even talk about the grief. The loss of the identity you carried in your old relationships, the rituals of partnership, the sense of belonging. Psychology tells us that our brain wires itself around long-term bonds. So when that bond dissolves, whether by choice or circumstance, we experience something similar to withdrawal. It's not just get over it. It's a biochemical. The brain is recalibrating. I spoke with a woman, let's call her Elena, who was married for 28 years. When she found herself single again, she said, it wasn't just that I lost my husband. It was the smell of his coffee in the morning, the sound of his shoes in the hallway. It was the hundreds of small things that made up the fabric of my day. This is why it's so important to not skip the healing season. Spiritually, your soul would say, allow the soil to rest before planting new seeds. Give yourself the space to feel, to cry, to rediscover who you are outside of your role of a wife, of a partner, or a caregiver. Okay, personal share. I have 2 journals. I write in them several times a week. One of my journals is my dream journal. You know, here it is, my dream journal. And sometimes I don't always dream so much at night, but when I do, I know it's my brain trying to help me work through something. And then the second one, she's my favorite. She's small enough and she goes in my purse. She has everything else, my dreams, my frustrations, and my plans. So go get a journal. You will need it for all the things I share with you to write down throughout the FeminineSpaces platform. So go get a journal. Okay. Because this is for your journal. Here's a little practical tip to keep in your journal and title this journal, Who Am I Now? Every day, write one line. Today I remembered. I love painting. Or today I realized I enjoy cooking for one. These little notes build the bridge from who you were to who you're becoming. Only then, when you are anchored in your own worth, do you re-enter dating with confidence, because you know your wholeness is it's not determined on who you choose or who chooses you. So what does this confidence look like in practice? How do we redefine confidence as we go back to dating in our late 40s after a long-term relationship? Okay, confidence isn't about walking into a room like you own it. It's about walking into a room knowing you belong there. Psychologists define confidence as the trust in your abilities and your judgments. But after years in a relationship, many women feel rusty. They question their desirability, their ability to flirt, or even their right to want to love again. Here is the FeminineSpaces truth. Confidence is not performance. It's an embodiment. Think of it as 3 layers. Self-mastery. Girl, you've lived it. You know who you are. You understand your rhythms, your boundaries, your passion. This becomes your anchor when you're out beginning to enter the dating market. And then there's the relationship wisdom. You've learned what works and what doesn't. You carry clarity that a 20-year-old simply can't have. And this isn't baggage, it's wisdom. And then conscious living. Because here I always talk about being conscientious when you make your decisions. So you date not from fear or loneliness, but from a desire for expansion. You're not chasing someone to complete you. You're seeking someone to grow with. Confidence becomes magnetic when you root yourself in these 3 layers. Let's pause here, because I want you to really feel this. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're exactly where you are meant to be. Okay, I'll share a story. A woman that I know named Sophia in her 50s. She told me, I thought men only wanted younger women. Then I realized the kind of man I want doesn't want a younger woman. He wants a partner who knows herself. And that's what I bring. This is confidence. Not perfection, not youth, but presence. So how do we take this inner knowing and move it into the messy, unpredictable world of modern dating? Oh, girl. Let's start scooping out the new dating landscape. Okay, let's talk about the reality of dating in midlife. Online apps, social events, introductions through friends, even travel opportunities. The channels are many, but what matters is how you show up. Here's where psychology helps us. Studies show that women over 40 actually score higher on emotional intelligence and communication skills compared to younger modern women in dating. This means you bring nuance, clarity, and an empathy into every interaction. This is your superpower. But our spiritual selves reminds us, don't confuse access with alignment. Just because someone is available doesn't mean they are the right person for your soul. Conscious dating means slowing down, asking, does this person expand me or do they diminish me? I will share with you a practical little tip that I used I used almost 2 years after the death of my late husband, which gave me the confidence and the ability to stay focused as I entered the dating market back in 2010. So, journal, create a dating compass, write down 3 non-negotiables, 3 red flags, because you have the wisdom now, you know, and 3 qualities that spark joy in you. Carry this list not as a prison, but as a compass that keeps you from wandering into places that dishonor your worth. That was a very nice way of putting that, right? I had a dear friend of mine, Mary Ann. She was a client actually. And I shared this practical tip with her when she went into the market at the age of 47. She used the exercise I shared earlier, right? And wrote down her compass. And they were kindness, emotional intelligence, and a shared love for travel. Within 6 months, she met someone who not only matched her values, but expanded them. She says, I stopped asking if they would like me. I started asking if they would grow with me. This is the beauty of creating and carrying with you a dating compass, that little square. Sometimes you may get distracted by pretty and shiny men. Then you get discouraged when it doesn't work out. And that's okay. Because by reviewing your handy dandy dating compass, you get back to yourself and you get back on track. You know what else? I love this. A little flirting when you're dating ought to be part of your everyday life. And if you feel awkward about flirting, here's a little reframe. Here's your reframe. Flirting is not manipulation. It's simply a playful exchange of energy. A smile, a curious question, a light touch on the arm. It's the art of saying, I see you, without promising, I'm yours. Okay, so let's take a beat and apply an exercise, shall we? Next time you're in a coffee shop, practice a little light flirting, even if it's just with the barista. Say something playful like, ooh, you make the best cappuccinos in town. I might be addicted. Feel how it shifts your energy. It's not about their response. It's about awakening your feminine playfulness. What about the fears that creep in? You know, rejection, vulnerability, intimacy. Oh my gosh, intimacy. Woo! Girl, facing fears and rejection over 40 is an experience. And here's the truth. Rejection is inevitable, but rejection is not about your worth. It's simply about fit. Oh, I'm going to use a shoe analogy to reinforce this message. Imagine trying on a pair of shoes. If they pinch, you don't blame your feet. You say, give me a half size bigger or perhaps wider. You simply say, it's not a right fit. The dating game is the same. Psychology tells us that our brain processes social rejection in the same area as physical pain. So yeah, it hurts. It hurts when you get rejected. However, your spiritual self whispers, what is meant for you cannot be missed. So every no is it's redirecting you towards a yes. Let me share a little story with you about Janine. After her divorce at 52, she went on 3 dates, and they went nowhere. She cried after each one, believing she wasn't attractive anymore. We were right here, drinking a glass of wine. But then I had her reframe it. And then she thought, you know what? This isn't a failure. These are just practice runs. Each one of those helped her discover that she didn't want what wasn't hers. And then 6 months later, she found a partner who adores her. Oh my God, I love him. So instead of armoring up, practice self-strength. Date with openness, date with curiosity, date as if you're exploring, not auditioning. Remember this feminine spaces wisdom. You're not looking for someone to validate your worth. You're inviting someone to witness it. Girl, how do you embody your feminine power? Feminine power is not about control. It's about presence. When you enter a date rooted in your feminine essence, you bring warmth, attentiveness, and magnetism. You're not performing. You are radiating. Think of it like this. Self-mastery gives you boundaries. Relationship wisdom gives you discernment. Conscious living, it gives you joy because you're making every single decision. So together, they make you irresistible, not because of your dress size or your hairstyle, but because of your energy. So here's another practical tip. Before you go on a date, ground yourself, because you know I love a ritual. Light a candle, breathe deeply, and repeat an affirmation like, I am magnetic, I am worthy, I am here to enjoy, not to prove. This drops you into your feminine essence before you step out your front door. So, my loves, my darlings, if you're stepping back into the world of dating after a long-term relationship, remember this. You're not starting over. You're starting wiser, softer, and stronger. Dating at this stage of life is not about desperation. It's about desire. It's not about shrinking yourself. It's about expanding into new possibilities. And whether you meet someone tomorrow or 5 years from now, it took me 2 years. Your confidence, your radiance, and your feminine presence are already the love story worth celebrating. Thank you, my darling, for spending this sacred time with me. If this video stirred something in your spirit, let it be more than inspiration. Let it be a gentle invitation back to yourself. Be sure to subscribe to FeminineSpaces, to this channel, and share this with every single woman you know, because y'all know we need it. We need to share the information and build our community and be together. And make sure you comment below, because I love hearing from you. And remember, you're not too late. You're not too much, and you're never too far gone. Here in FeminineSpaces, we rise in beauty, truth, and grace together. Because when a woman is in her feminine essence, she is undeniable. Until next time, stay soft, stay rooted, and stay sovereign.